Welcome to Briskie Business. Thanks again for making me part of your day. As you know, the goal of the Briskie Business platform is to help you demystify the business process and demystify the stock market as well. It's a forum here. We offer tips and tidbits to help share various different aspects of business. And it's also a place where mentorship is not only discussed, but it's encouraged. Any questions you have, as you know, this is your program. And so our listening audience tunes in to Briskie Business and write me at briskiebusiness@ntvUSA.com. And we will keep tailoring the program to the topics that you are interested in hearing. As you know, our program is broken into 3 segments: Brisk's Business Basics, Brisk's Buy or Bail, Brisk's Bulls and Bears, and Brisk's Best and Brightest. Let's do this. Let's get started. So I have another great guest. One after another, I've been having unbelievable experts in certain areas on Briskie Business. And this gentleman that's on the program today has expertise in all types of transactions, both public and private, including licensing, research collaborations, mergers and acquisitions in therapeutics and in diagnostics, as well as the ability to raise capital, which, as you know from earlier segments, is a pretty important part of any microcap company. This gentleman has raised over $50 million in his career, in his ventures. He also played, interestingly enough, professional football for the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. He's a graduate of the esteemed Stanford University, and he is the current CEO of Todos Medical Ltd. I'd like to welcome Gerald Commissiong to Briskie Business. Gerald, welcome to the program. How are you today?
Doing great. Thank you, Dave, for having me.
Well, it's very, very nice to have you on the program. As you know, we're going to get started with Brisk Business Basics. And with Brisk Business Basics, what we're doing here is we're just getting to the beginning of the business process, that point in the process. And I'd like you to go back to wherever you're comfortable. It could be your early, maybe first job, if you'd like, or it could be this current project where you can maybe tell us, what do you think the most important basic business principles are to get started when you're starting a project maybe such as this?
Well, I think, the biggest thing when you're looking at building a business, building a project, is understanding the whole path and working backwards and making sure that you are focused on each of the milestones that will get you to the next level. So not almost to the next level, because almost isn't good enough. Actually getting across the finish line and hitting, that milestone that will cause people to take an interest, a further interest in what you're doing, or to hit that milestone when you get that next sale. That's really important so you can grow, and being laser focused on that you don't come up short.
So let's talk about this current project you're in. It's really interesting, right? I mean, your company, and I talk about pivots all the time, and I talk about how important that is in any business process. And I believe your company was very focused on Alzheimer's and breast cancer, right? And so I want to hear a little bit about that and about this recent pivot that you're making in these times.
Sure. So Todos is an Israel-based medical diagnostic company focused on developing technologies to diagnose disease based on the immune system. The platform's out of Ben Gurion University, and it's been really tailored for cancer. And the idea is that you take this spectroscopy platform, which is essentially a laser-based platform.
Okay.
You shine it through blood, really targeting the immune cells in the blood. And you turn the biological information into data. And then you mine that data to identify algorithms that are indicative of disease. And what we identified was that you could identify cancer and the tissue of origin for that cancer. So whether it's breast cancer, colon cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, the focus was initially in breast cancer and colon cancer. So they took that tech. We've gotten a CE mark in both breast cancer and colon cancer at this point, and we're looking to take this into the marketplace outside the U.S. Now, what we found is that these kind of newer, innovative technologies, they take a lot of time to get through the regulatory process because people are not fully comfortable with them. And really, it's a lot easier when you bridge, so you can kind of show our technology is as good or better than something that people are used to seeing. And you can show that consistently, then, the FDA and the regulators, they get a lot more comfortable that you can do this on a consistent basis and you're going to help improve public health as opposed to maybe damaging public health. So because of that, and we know, our platform is really innovative, we decided to go after a couple of, much more traditional platforms that may not be as good for everything that we're asking these diagnostic tests to do, but they're good for certain key things. And those key things will allow you to get a lot of patient flow. So you can get a lot of patients using the testing, and then we're piggybacking our new innovative platform on those more traditional platforms. And what that does, it really allows us to aggregate a lot more data. And as we all know, data is, the number one thing you need if you want to build algorithms. The more data you have, the better algorithm. So that's what we've done. We're acquiring two other technologies into Todos. One, the diagnostic technology for Alzheimer's called the Limpro test. Our kind of scientific rationale there is we have to think that cancer and Alzheimer's are very similar diseases. It's just that cancer happens in cells that are dividing and can complete the process. But Alzheimer's, as we all found out in 8th grade biology, neurons, they don't divide anymore. When you have a certain amount, you only lose them, or primarily lose them throughout your life. And so, whereas in cancer, you have uncontrolled cell proliferation because the cells continue to divide, in Alzheimer's, you have almost the exact opposite effect for the same reasons. The cells try to divide, they create the infrastructure for multiple cells, but they can't complete the division process. And so there's too much stuff inside one cell, and the cell decides to commit effectively suicide because it's perturbing the system. And so we think, and we have a high degree of confidence, that ultimately we'll be able to use kind of the more traditional tests that we've seen very, very high accuracy in narrow uses. We're going to get a lot of patients using those tests and build up the data sets for our AI platform, which ultimately could replace, a large number of the blood tests that are out there on the market with a single test. Because when you turn the biological information into data, you're capturing everything.
So let me ask you something.
The same test, you'd find breast, colon, lung, pancreatic. You wouldn't need to do 2 or 3 different tests. You would find it all out with that one single test, which is really a true innovation.
Are you guys in market yet on the Alzheimer and breast cancer testing?
So on the traditional platforms, yeah, we've had early commercialization on both of those, and that's the reason why we're bringing them in, because we know there's a market. It's not going to, replace everything, but there's a very meaningful place for each of those tests. On the innovative platform, we're about to go into market in Israel and in Europe. And then there, the limited scale rollout as we gather more data. And then ultimately we can expand the rollout.
Got it. So you have a core competency in that type of testing, which already in itself, especially Alzheimer's, it's very prolific, and sadly, I think it's probably touched just about everybody. I lost my father-in-law to Alzheimer's in the last 3 years, and it's just a brutal disease. It's just horrible, really. So, I think anything any company can do to prevent that is obviously going to be good news to folks. And of course, we all know breast cancer and the number of lives it has taken. So, I think that's terrific. But you've had, in this realm of your business, all of a sudden you're hit with a global pandemic called COVID-19. Are you able to leverage your resources into maybe helping in that area, which is so needed right now?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually one of the key things. You know, I was in Israel right before they shut down the country. I was in a meeting with, you know, an investment fund. There was 6 people around the table. And in the middle of the meeting, someone comes and says, you know, you guys have to leave because all foreign nationals are no longer allowed inside buildings in Israel in meetings. And that's when it struck me, really, that, you know, this COVID-19 pandemic was going to have a very real impact when countries are now starting to change policies for routine meetings because they're scared of the spread of the virus. That's when it really dawned on me that, you know what, this COVID is not just something that is going to be here today, gone tomorrow, like a lot of these other viruses. It's much more significant.
So,
and that was the impetus for us to really start looking at that space.
All right, and so you've, I believe you've already started sourcing testing kits in the COVID era. We got 1 minute for this segment. Can you tell us where you are in the process within your organization?
Yeah, sure. We're commercial. So what we did, you know, luckily as a company, we have a lot of connections all over the world. As a result of, you know, having those connections, we'd worked with, you know, groups in Singapore. We have a subsidiary in Singapore. They have close relationships with groups in China, groups in South Korea, and they've been dealing with COVID kind of for a few more months than we had. But, you know, at this point, we all know a couple of months might as well be 20 years with COVID. And so we went and we did an evaluation of the various tests that were out there so we could really see what was good and where you could get better and more accurate results than maybe some of the other tests that we were seeing having a lot of trouble in the market. And we found some stuff that we ultimately decided to do deals with. And then we did validation in our lab in the US to really confirm all the data and confirm the consistency of the data.
All right, great.
So that was a
so let's hold that
because
hey,
you know, being able to go after something that is proven.
Gerald, let's hold the thought there. We've got to end the segment.
We're going to be a big deal.
Gerald, let's hold the thought right there. We're going to end this segment. Believe it or not, it goes by that quick. So we're going to end Brisk Business Basics, but we'll continue that discussion in Brisk Buy or Bail in a minute. So we'll be back with Gerald.
We are ENTV USA. Log on now and check out our live shows and subscribe. You don't want to miss this. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Linea Deportiva, a sports line. At 7 p.m., O Que Chisme, the best celebrity gossip show with Odi Abreu. At 8 p.m., Punto Final, another angle of news. 9 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, we have Alo Cortez with Tony Cortez. Tuesdays at 9 p.m., Dame Un Like. Thursdays, also at 9 p.m., De Noche con Roche. Fridays, 9 p.m., Mas con Mas with Raul Mascanosa. Every Wednesdays at 4 p.m., we've got Briskie Business with Dave Briskie. Followed by Inmigración en Fronteras with lawyer Irving Gonzalez at 5 p.m. This is our programming for ENTV USA from right here in Miami for the rest of the world. Con una vista, basta. Show some love and give us a like.
As you age, the collagen that helps keep your body in optimal physical condition breaks down faster than your body can replace it. But now it's easy to give your body the healthy dose of collagen it needs with Collagen Creamer from Youngevity. It's a delicious vanilla-flavored coffee creamer that's packed with 7.5 grams of bovine-sourced collagen peptides. Youngevity's Collagen Creamer uses 2 types of collagen to better supply the protein needed to repair and strengthen the connective tissue in your body. It also supports healthy hair, skin, nails, and even bones. We've also formulated Collagen Creamer with MCT, healthy fats that the body is able to absorb and convert into an instant boost of energy. Add it to coffee or one of your other favorite beverages when you need it. Longevity Collagen Creamer. Support for healthy connective tissue and more energy, all in a tasty vanilla-flavored creamer. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate. Paying attention to your overall health also means focusing on the command center of it all, your brain. Factors like stress, lack of sleep, poor diet, a sedentary lifestyle, and the bombardment of pollutants and toxins can all diminish brain and neural functions. When was the last time you concentrated on your brain health? Synaptive by Longevity is a cutting-edge, unique brain support supplement that delivers powerful nutrients both immediately and throughout the day. Its anti-stress nutrients provide instant brain-boosting support that helps with mental focus and cognitive activity. To enhance your body's neuroprotection, Synaptive's full-spectrum antioxidant blend targets 6 major classes of free radicals that inhibit brain function. This powerful nutrient combination also promotes healthy blood flow to the brain. Synaptive, optimal antioxidant neuroprotection and support for a healthy brain. Now that's something to think about. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Stop the COVID-19. Maintain social distancing. The best way to prevent the sickness is to avoid exposure and to avoid exposing other people. Maintain a distance of 6 feet whenever possible and cover your nose and mouth with a handkerchief or mask when in public. Avoid hugs, handshakes, and big reunions as well as events indoors. For more information, please go to floridahealthcovid19.gov. This is a message from ENTV USA for the community.
Welcome back to Briskie Business. Very, very compelling conversation today with Gerald Commissiong, who's the CEO of Todos. And, he's got some really innovative stuff going on in his company, and we're going to bring him back onto the program in Brisks Buy or Bail segment. Gerald, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So in Buy or Bail, Gerald, what we do here is we're trying to get into the minds of key leaders, executives, on what they go through in making a buy or bail decision. And, we use those words loosely, but it's really about the decision-making process. That process of I extract the data, whatever process I may use, I bail on the idea or I go forward with the idea. And so what I'd like to do right now with you is understand your decision process. And before the break, we were talking about your company focused on Alzheimer and breast cancer testing, and all of a sudden we're hit with a global pandemic while you're sitting there in Israel and watching this happen. Walk us through the decision process that led to your company moving into that direction. What was that like, and how did you make that decision to go forward?
Sure. After it dawned on me how critical this was, and we kind of knew that there were, in fact, good technologies out there, and we did our diligence, and a lot of that stuff through reputable sources. Then the question was, well, how do we stay on our current path versus how do we incorporate this new reality that, COVID was going to be important? So the first thing was that it was becoming clear that our existing strategy wasn't going to be able to go as smoothly as we wanted it to, because all the labs in the US were starting to shut down, except for labs that were doing COVID testing. I spoke to a number of lab owners in the US that were deemed non-essential because the hospitals were not doing elective surgeries, physicians weren't seeing patients, and so the labs had nothing to do. And it seems crazy, but that's what happened for several months, and we're experiencing the problems associated with that. Right now with the surge in demand and people trying to get booked but they can't. So once we saw that happen, our strategy was to move and to start launching some of our cancer tests in the U.S. Rapidly. But we were seeing labs come offline, and really the only way you could get a lab up and running was to be into COVID testing, because all of the volume for the lab was being shifted to labs that did COVID. So if you wanted to have your diabetes checked or your cardiovascular check, those are two major risk factors for COVID. Those came along with COVID testing, and so those physicians, they'd want to send that diabetes lab or that cardiovascular lab to the same lab that was going to do COVID. So it became clear to us that the only way that you were really going to be able to commercialize any diagnostic tests in the United States was you had to have COVID tests. So if that, is the case, the next question was, okay, how long is this thing really going to be around? Because if it's around for a short period of time, we'll be like every other pandemic and rearrange our business. And by the time we're ready to go commercial, it'll be over. And there we had to take somewhat of a leap of faith. While we were hearing, all over the news, on every news station that, testing was under control, the big guys were coming in, we know the lab industry. We know that there's been consolidation after consolidation, small labs that have revenue get gobbled up, their R&D gets slashed, the management team goes away, and then it's a private equity play where you basically just add revenue, cut out expenses, and you drive top line and bottom line. That's, the business, and that's the roll-up business that's been going on. The challenge with that is that, you have fewer labs doing much more volume, which means that you have to have all the logistics going to fewer labs. And when you have a normal situation where you have routine testing, they figured out how to do all those logistics. When you have an influx of testing of a virtually unknown quantity that has to happen on an ongoing basis, i.e., even if I test negative for COVID today, doesn't mean I can't catch it tomorrow, which means I may need to get tested next week. And so it's untold how much quantity of testing is going to be required, just to deal with the symptomatic people, which is really the majority of the testing that's been going on in the United States to date is symptomatic. There was never a mass screening program implemented to screen everybody, and that could ultimately lead to a real understanding of who has it, who doesn't, the people who have it get quarantined, the people who don't have it. You take 2 weeks, take another test, make sure you don't have it again, and then everyone's cleared. The U.S. didn't take that strategy, right? And so as a result of the U.S. not taking that strategy, it became clear that the virus was going to continue to spread, which is what's happened in every single country that has not done mass testing. And so that means that because of the liability associated with many different places potentially getting sued because they created an environment that would allow for COVID to spread, the only way people are going to do anything in a realistic way is to demand that people are tested.
That makes a lot of
don't get
sense.
sued.
Now, that makes a ton of sense, and we're seeing that testing is becoming more prevalent. It must have, making a decision like this, I think it was very astute and smart to say, how long is this going to be here? And you needed to keep your other business, that's, you can't say that's not a powerful business, right? Alzheimer's, breast cancer, certainly much needed. So I think it's super important that you keep that focus, but, you got to also realize, what's in front of you and how long that might last. We watched a ton of companies. We were one of them. We jumped into the hand sanitizer business. But it was so in our core competency, it wasn't like we had to make a large investment to do it. I know many that pivoted totally on that, and before you know it, the demand caught up, and all of a sudden you're like, uh-oh, I'm in a business that I really never wanted to be in the first place. For us, it was about being good citizens, and sometimes you have to be good citizens. So we've got about 3 minutes left. Tell me about scalability, because you're talking about how much testing there is, and your company is out there. You said you're in market. Where is this stuff available, and what's kind of your rollout strategy for these testing kits?
Right. So the way testing happens in the U.S. is you have to have a lab do the testing. Even these antibody tests really have to be done by CLIA labs. So our customers are the CLIA labs who will buy our kits and use them. So the question for us is, where are the CLIA labs that are moving into COVID? So we figured there were going to be a couple of waves of COVID just because of what's happened everywhere else. That's what's happened. And in the U.S., the government, U.S. government decided that the big labs were going to be where they parked all the volume. So, LabCorp Quest, we've all heard about it, and their, backup and their turnaround time. But that was the only game in town. And because we knew that, generally the virus was going to spread, and it was very, unlikely that we were going to be able to stop the spread in a meaningful way without drastic measures that we didn't take. As a result of that, the only way to add capacity was to add other labs, secondary sources of testing, right? And so in order for that to happen, the physicians who are the only ones now who are prescribing the testing, and they're only able to prescribe it to people who are symptomatic. And back in those days, you had to be very symptomatic to be able to get testing. We knew that kind of that level of symptomatic that you needed to be was going to go down over time, because you need to find those people who aren't symptomatic and stop them from spreading the virus in order to stop the problem.
Makes
so
sense.
We knew eventually it was going to get out of those core, and it was going to get out into the community. And just because of the logistics of the whole operation, you need to have local labs in local communities with local logistics to be able to provide local service, right? That's the problem that we have now. And that's really the opportunity for us, because those labs are the same labs that were getting shut down amid the pandemic. And if they want to get back up and running, they don't want to go out of business.
All right, so hold that thought with me.
Hold
that thought, because we're nearing the end of this segment, so we can come back and we'll let you wrap that up. So, this is very, very interesting, and this is an interesting Brisk Buyer Bail segment. We're going to wrap it up hear from our sponsors, and we're going to come back with Brisk Bulls and Bears and talk a bit about the public markets. I'm with Gerald Commissiong. Are you looking for high entertainment and energy in your media? Download the ENTV USA app now. You're not going to want to miss what we got to offer. We are ENTV USA. Click and subscribe. Con una vista, basta.
Super Greens is a one-of-a-kind blend that's loaded with hard-to-find nutrient-dense superfoods. We've used what we've learned from our more than 20 years working with mineral-based nutrition to create one of the healthiest, plant-based nutritional products available. Each superfood was carefully selected so that it complements and enhances the others, helping to maximize Super Greens' nutritional power. Next, we added a specialized fermentation technique to increase the bioavailability of each superfood. Finally, we put in powerful probiotics and enzymes for added digestive support to give you jam-packed nutritional support. Longevity Super Greens, the highly alkalinizing super supplement that helps balance your body. It's the superfood-powered way to get more organic fruits and veggies in your day, all in just one scoop. Check with your Longevity distributor to learn more.
Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you have to look it or feel it. Immortalium by Longevity was developed to support your body's ability to age normally and healthfully. It's an advanced anti-aging supplement that combines the most effective essential nutrients in a cutting-edge, bi-layered and extended release tablet designed to support your telomere health and natural aging process. Telomeres are the biological clocks within your cells that form the protective ends of almost every chromosome in your body. Telomeres help prevent the chromosomes from deteriorating. The longer and healthier the telomeres in a cell, the greater the health and anti-aging benefits. Immortalium contains synergizing antioxidant enzymes and telomere health-promoting nutrients that are quickly absorbed to give your body time to break down the antioxidants and put them to work. Immortalium, advanced anti-aging support that can help fight the natural aging process. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Understanding your microbiome can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Hi, I'm Dave Briskie, and welcome back to Briskie Business. This segment of the program is Brisk Bulls and Bears, and I've been having a really nice conversation and learning an awful lot about testing from Gerald Commissiong. And I want to bring him back on the program. He is the CEO of Todos. So, Gerald, welcome back on. And this is the public markets section. So we're going to try to demystify the public markets a little bit. And I'd like to start off by maybe understanding how you go about building your investment portfolio, individually.
Sure. I'm a risk taker. That's, by definition, an entrepreneur. But I've learned throughout the years that, the smaller companies, I'm trying to make, don't always work out. So while I have a head tilt personally in companies I'm invested in, I've started to look for companies that are cash flow generating, that can cover their expenses so that there's going to be mitigated dilution, and that have innovative technologies and are in areas of growth that could see some revenue growth that they can then use to reinvest into capturing big time market share in the industries of the future.
Before we get into Todos, and I think those are really, really sound strategy and talk about it, I've been building a little bit of Briskie business portfolio here. It's been really kind of fun, just for fun. And I've gotten tips from just about every guest, 1-2 tips. One program, someone said when we talk about tips, it's their speculation on what something could happen. And one tip, for example, was that they thought Southwest Airlines, all the airlines got crushed, was the best company positioned to make a comeback. And I thought, well, actually, it's pretty interesting. So, that was their thought process. Do you have any companies that you got your eyes on in this market right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of the real estate companies have all gotten crushed because obviously no one's paying their rent or their mortgage. So there's a lot of issues there. But really figuring out who those tenants are, what those businesses are, and how long-term those businesses are going to last. I think there's a huge opportunity in real estate really segregate out winners and losers. That's just going to be completely different than it was before COVID. And so, if you're starting to follow the money, I think that is an area where you can see some big divergence going forward once people start to really think under the hood.
So then would you be looking at REITs in terms of investment?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting. I had a gentleman on a prior program, and he was pretty much gold, silver mining. That's where it is right now. So it's really interesting, and I think that's an interesting thought. So let's pivot to Todos Medical. And you guys are public. Where are you trading, and what's your stock symbol?
Stock symbol is TOMDF. We're trading in and around 5 to 10 cents a share, in that range.
Okay, so just in the micro cap area, would that put your market cap around 30 million-ish?
Around there.
Okay, great. Tell me about your revenue ramp. You said that you're in the market. What do you think your revenue ramp looks like, whether that's in your current, kind of legacy testing or in this COVID testing? What are you kind of seeing in your mind, or have you put out those types of forecasts yet? Are you able to talk about it?
We haven't put out those forecasts, but I can give qualitative analysis of how we see it.
Okay.
So we've really focused on revenue exclusively to COVID, and the idea was we felt that these larger labs were going to capture the market share. They were going to get backed up in their ability to do turnaround times, and that the more backup that those labs get, the more physicians are going to start to look for alternatives to those big labs. So that was our strategy. And we felt that the best way forward for us was really to position ourselves, get all of the data so that nobody could question the validity of what we have, source the materials that are very difficult for smaller labs to source, because the big companies who sell to the big labs prioritize big orders, which is not what the smaller labs do. They need people who can cater to them. And that we saw that would be our bread and butter, so that as testing started to expand beyond just those who are extremely sick, by definition, that means that more and more people are going to get pulled into testing. And that's what we've seen. There's a lot of truth to the more you test, the more people you're going to find. With that being said, you still have to test because you have to find it. That's not obvious.
I think you're right, and we're already seeing that. We have 3 different operating business segments in our company, and I actually got tested yesterday with a kind of one of those more instant tests, just because the guy was available, and I was happy to be negative, and I was really looking to see if there was antibodies there, and I'm not really sure that that was the situation. But you're absolutely right. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I tested negative, but now I'm out and heading up to another division of our company, and there's no telling what I could be exposed to. And really, for us right now, we're trying to do testing to get our teams back on the field, right? So the testing is definitely shifting from, like you said, those that are sick to those that are around the sick, right? Someone may be, we have a certain employee who takes care of their grandmother, for example, who tested positive, and now how do we get him back on the field or her back on the field? So this thing is going to get really, really interesting. So you guys could be in the kind of in the right place at the right time.
That was the plan. We saw it coming, and we felt that if we could get access to the materials that the labs are going to need, that was the key for us to be able to capture the market and really help open up the local labs, and that those local labs will help open up the local economy, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, and this was a local lab, just like you're saying, and they had to come to they came to our place of business, right? So they're starting to expand out. But it definitely wasn't like a test that I could have done myself, right? That would not have been allowed. So, it's happening, and we're seeing it happen more and more. And I really think the U.S. is a market, but, as we do business internationally, and we have reach in a number of different areas, and, we're kind of seeing this blowing up really all around the world. Do you guys have any ambition to spread your wings outside of the U.S., or is the U.S. just big enough that you guys are going to just focus your effort here?
Well, that's interesting. So, we started out very much focused on international because we didn't have access in the U.S. because, the market was really restricted to the big guys. And so we have our Israel office. We also have a small division in Singapore, which is really on the innovation side. And we've made a lot of progress in developing relationships ex-US, and people are starting to call us now because they can't get the materials from the Thermos and the Roches and the others. So we're kind of like a secondary source in terms of supply. But, the situation in the U.S. is really in such a way that, it's going to be a massive growth opportunity because, these PCR tests, these swab tests that go up the nose or the throat, that's really the gold standard now. There was a little period of time where no one really knew what was going to be the best test. Is it the antibodies? Is it the swab test? I think now it's very clear. People make decisions based on the swab test. Liability is built around those swab tests, right? And because of that, those require some sophisticated equipment, which is really going to, in large part, while economies are down, make it difficult for, economies and places that, don't have a lot of money to get access to all that testing. So they have to deploy different strategies that maybe use antibodies and much more strict social measures.
Got it.
Which is what we're seeing. In the U.S., it's, a lot more individual freedom. People can make individual choice. Obviously, that may mean more spread, but there's enough money in the U.S. to be able to deal with this problem. Ex-U.S., they may not have the money to deal with it, and so they have to use more of those instant tests and use them serially, so 2 or 3 times in a row, and have more strict social measures to be able to deal with the problem.
It makes a ton of sense. We've got about 10 seconds here, so we're going to probably wrap here and get back to that. But, it'll be interesting. I want to come back on the other side of the break, even though we'll be talking about something different. But I'd love to know and have you thinking about it on the break on what your scalability is to take advantage of the opportunity. This concludes our section of our segment of Brisks, Bulls, and Bears, and we'll be back in a moment with Brisks Best and Brightest. I'm talking with Gerald Commissiong.
More and more healthcare professionals and people seeking alternative and natural health treatments are turning to hemp-based products because of the growing body of research supporting its benefits. Youngevity has leveraged our years of natural plant-based nutritional research to introduce 3 new products. Hemp FX Soothe helps support muscles and joints by enhancing a healthy immune response and reducing free radical stress. For optimal results, it contains our hemp-derived CBD plus the powerful antioxidant glutathione. Hemp FX Relax helps ease the mind and the body for a deep and restful sleep. We combined our hemp-derived CBD with melatonin to help support your best night's sleep. To help support positive energy for your mind and your mood, we created Hemp FX Uplift. In combination with St. John's wort and a specialized set of terpenes and cannabinoid enhancers. To learn more about Hemp FX, contact your Youngevity distributor or visit hempfx.com.
Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you have to look it or feel it. Immortalium by Youngevity was developed to support your body's ability to age normally and healthfully. It's an advanced anti-aging supplement that combines the most effective essential nutrients in a cutting-edge, bi-layered and extended release tablet designed to support your telomere health and natural aging process. Telomeres are the biological clocks within your cells that form the protective ends of almost every chromosome in your body. Telomeres help prevent the chromosomes from deteriorating. The longer and healthier the telomeres in a cell, the greater the health and anti-aging benefits. Immortalium contains synergizing antioxidant enzymes and telomere health-promoting nutrients that are quickly absorbed to give your body time to break down the antioxidants and put them to work. Immortalium, advanced anti-aging support that can help fight the natural aging process. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Antioxidants are essential to protect your cells against the damaging effects of free radicals. Purmeric by Longevity harnesses the power of nature to combat free radicals by delivering a potent boost of antioxidants known for their incredible healing properties. Sourced from certified organic turmeric root, Purmeric contains 95% curcuminoids, the active compounds that quash free radicals. Turmeric has been used in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for thousands of years to promote both heart and brain health, as well as its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. We've also included a botanical blend of phytonutrients that include flavonoids, carotenoids, and sulfides. These natural, plant-based chemicals are powerful contributors to overall health and well-being. Purmeric, the organic antioxidant supplement from Longevity, formulated to promote optimal health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to Briskie Business, and we're in the segment Best and Brightest. You know this is one of my favorite segments. It's all about mentorship, and we're going to get to mentorship in a minute because we closed out the last segment and I asked a question to my guest who's with us right now, Gerald Commissiong, the CEO of Todos. And he pivoted from the current tests he was doing into COVID testing. And I was asking him about scalability because obviously without scalability, you know, he's not going to have the revenue drive that he would hope for. So Gerald, before we get into Brisk, Best and Brightest, can you just do a quick minute on scalability and how you guys have planned to scale the ability to output these products?
Sure. So internally, you know, scalability in our own lab is just about attracting samples from different hospitals. And that's now becoming more interesting because, as I said, you know, a lot of doctors are looking for secondary sources, and we're taking that offtake from those other big labs. In terms of how, when we sell to other labs and help many, many other labs get up and running and scale, we have access to 1 million of the most key component of the process. That is what they can't get anywhere else. We have access to 1 million of those a week. That's 140,000 a day. That, at today's capacity, would increase the U.S. capacity by 25%. And we sell not that only, but we sell everything around that as well because of the choke point. So when you become one of our clients, we catch you with the extraction, which is very high quality and automated. And then we sell the other things around it as part of the package.
That's great. No, I appreciate that, and that's very, very good information for those paying attention to what your company's doing. So let's talk about Best and Brightest. Let's get to the mentorship. So you know this is near and dear to me. We spoke off air, and I asked if you had any mentors, or if you've been a mentor, and how it impacted you. So tell me what you feel about mentorship and how it may have affected your life.
No, mentorship is extremely important. You know, I played sports growing up. I played sports in college. Since that time, been exposed to a number of business leaders. And in the end, some of the same principles apply. You know, you need to be able to have faith in yourself through adversity. whether that's in sports or whether that's in business, because invariably there's somebody you're trying to knock off from where they are, and or you're trying to beat somebody to the punch. So, as we looked at that parallel, as I look at that parallel, I see a lot of young people who are coming up and who aren't so focused on getting to an objective, but are more focused on the road that it takes. And what I try and tell people is, how you do something is obviously very important, but in the end, people remember whether you did it or you didn't. And that's really, when we talked at the beginning of the show about actually hitting those milestones as opposed to kind of getting close to hitting those milestones, it's a big difference. So I've got a few people that I try and help and manage through situations like that, where, they have to make decisions about where to allocate their time, where to allocate their resources. And I always try to get them focused on their key objective. It was something that, I had problems with earlier on in my career, but now that it's become clear to me, when you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing. And so instead, it's better to do one thing and then the next thing, and then you can do many, many things well.
Yeah, I think that focus is critical, right? And are we making sure we're focusing on areas that move the needle for our business, right? And we can chase, there's a lot of expressions out there, right? If you focus on one rabbit, you'll catch one rabbit. You focus on two rabbits, you catch none rabbits. So, and I think that's kind of the point that you're making. Tell me about this, this pandemic, right? All this youth, all these graduates coming out into a horrible job market, let's just face it, and high unemployment. And, all these new folks looking for opportunity. What do you think the key is for those that are coming into the workplace now? What do they got to do to make a difference and make something happen for their lives?
Well, this is important to remember that this is cyclical. At the end of the 1990s, things blew up. In the end of the, 2000s, things blew up. Now it's a little bit longer. It's the early 2020s as opposed to late 2010s, but things are blowing up again. So I think the message is, work on yourself, work on your craft, work on things that you care about, and work in things where you can make a difference. Because if you focus on those things, the opportunities will present themselves because you'll be in those right circles and you'll have those skills to add value to that opportunity, and you'll be the one selected over the others who maybe are just looking for a job. If I'm a person and I'm an employer and I'm in the middle of hiring, I'm not looking for someone who's looking to clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. I'm looking for someone who cares about what they're doing, knows that it needs to be done right, and is willing to do what it takes to get the job done. And that is really the key for me as you think about coming out of college. Everyone can complain about it. I've never heard complaining solve a problem. So what you need to do is you need to look at solutions to those problems. And, that's really all about finding what you care about and working hard at it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's a critical piece. And we've, obviously have a lot of entrepreneurs on this program, and, work ethic becomes a really, really key piece, right? Very key piece. And I think you're making that point. We've had Mary Lou Henner on this program, and she talks about making yourself indispensable, right? And, those are the last people that, even in a consolidation, that's not going to be with a company, right? So you got to find a way to make yourself indispensable, which means you got to serve whoever in the company you can serve to make stuff happen. And I think that's kind of the point of mentorship, and especially in these times. So, Gerald, I know we've talked about gap moments, and I've explained to you what gap moments are to me, which are, especially us entrepreneurs that are working very, very long hours. How do we find, that joyful moment in our lives to make sure that we're not just trying to look a year from now for some vacation we might take to find joy, but find find that every day, and I call that living in those gaps, even if it's 5 minutes. So, you're working super hard. I mean, we had to even move this show around to accommodate some stuff that was going on with your business. It's just the way it is. It's very fluid. So what do you do to ground yourself and find joy in your life? What does Gerald Commissiong do to find those gap moments?
Well, the big one is to try and have dinner with the family every night. To the extent possible at home. That is kind of turn the phone off, get away, put things down, and just, find out what everyone was doing in their day, what the problems were, and what they're looking for. That for me is a chance to, try and disconnect from the work and really focus on, family and the things that matter at home. So that's really, for me, where I try and get that. And that's honestly something that's been positively impacted by COVID.
You're right.
More family time.
You're right. And you know what? It's made a difference in people's lives. It really has. They realize how important that was. And it's kind of a shame that it took something like this to bring us back to what is really a family basic unit, unfortunately, that we've gotten lost in. I had Chris Lahiji on the phone. I think on this same program. And I think Chris with LD Micro. And his gap moment was a scoop of peanut butter at 5 o'clock after he lost all that weight. And, Chris. And man, when he would describe that, I was like, I wouldn't have been a gap moment for him, but it was a gap moment for not for me, but it was definitely a gap moment for Chris Lahiji. Gerald, I really appreciate you coming on the program. You've got a lot of exciting things going on with Todos. We're going to definitely keep an eye on you. We've got about 30 seconds left. Just let us know in 30 seconds, the once again, name of the company, website, and what your stock symbol is so we can keep up with you.
Sure. Name of the company is Todos Medical Ltd. Website is todosmedical.com, TODOS medical.com. Stock ticker is TOMBF, and we are a coronavirus testing company.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on Briskie Business, and we'll catch up with you down the road, and we'll see you at the next virtual LD Micro Conference.